I didn't live with cats for a couple of years. I have daughters now, but I'm pretty sure they will bring home a stray kitten anytime soon. They do things like that. So I learned a thing or two about cats. Cats cannot be controlled. More often than once, I found that they actually control me. Cats are always in control. And I find change is similar, pushing change, because people cannot be changed. They will change themselves if they actually want to, because people are also in control. Me, besides cats, I love coding. My happy place, it's a VI editor on a Linux terminal, hacking. And through this love of technology, I end up mentoring and leading engineers. And 6 years ago, my life took a weird turn. I joined Dormy as a chief technology officer. So I went from hacking Perl to selling bras and panties to women in America. Now, that's probably not what my mom had in mind when I was in high school. And this experience, joining the Copilot as one of the fastest growing companies in America, really changed a lot of things in my life. One thing is I moved from leading engineers to leading teams of engineers. It's difficult to do things without that precious face time. And it's not just any teams of engineers. We're talking about autonomous, purpose-driven teams. They self-regulate and they'll self-improve. There is no boss person that can impose things on these teams. So now that you get where I'm coming from, I'll do the awkward exercise of the day. Raise of hands, who heard about OKRs? All right. Keep your hands up, please. Thank you. If you're actually using OKRs, okay. If you're super happy with OKRs, all right. That's my buddy. Okay. So, for those of you who don't know, OKRs mean objectives and key results. Goal setting framework, very popular, used by Google and others. I will do a quick refresher on what they are, just for those of you that don't know. It's pretty simple. You gather the team every 3 months, you sit together, you figure out what really matters to do right now, what is important for everyone, and you attach very measurable results to these goals, so you know when they actually happened. And the key here is together. You heard me, I said together. This is not some strategic plan from the CEO. It's actually bottom-up. You have to build them together to work. And they should be super ambitious, moonshots, to put people out of their comfort zone. And you start with the company level, top objectives, and then each individual team creates their own objectives based on that. Just to give some example from a Dormy, let's say you want to improve the shipping experience. Well, how would you measure that? Clearly, you want to ship the boxes faster, ideally under a day. Customers should be happy about it in a measurable way, like a survey or something. And we should attempt to put less wrong products in the boxes. That's ideal. And more on the engineering side of things, let's say you want to decouple your systems, kill that spaghetti monster. How would you measure that? Well, let's say you have hundreds of microservices all depending on one another. You may want to reduce that dependency count in a measurable way. Also, it's a good idea to be able to release a small feature without testing everything for hours and hours. And ideally, if some component on your system goes crazy, the website should not go down, so you should not have too many single points of failure. So these are examples from a Dormy. Wait. So just now I guess you're confused. Why the hell am I bringing OKRs in a talk about change management? Well, there are so many tools and so much content about change management. And for example, McKinsey has a famous 4-block model, really cool. You have a charming fable from John Kotter from Harvard's Business School on change management. The iceberg is sinking. And these things are well documented. Me, what I want to do today is share some things that really worked for us at Adormi, that are hyper effective in change at Adormi, and things that I have actually used. And with objectives and key results being one of them, again, there are tons of advantages. I just want to share the 5 epiphanies I had from using them that created change in our organization. So I'll start with the first one. You have that precious moment once every 3 months when you know for a fact that everyone in your team is aligned on what they want, what matters. And not only that, but they're also super committed in doing things towards that. You know it. And this is not easy. Before we had OKRs, you had the endless bickering over the water cooler or smoking corner. What is the thing that we should focus on? What can we do? What should we do? So this precious moment of alignment, it will not last forever. It doesn't last full 3 months. Maybe it lasts only 1 day. Maybe it lasts 3 weeks. But it's very precious, and just resyncing again every 3 months creates this alignment. Now, the actual exercise of figuring out what are the group goals, what matters for the group, it's a gift in itself. Just imagine, all right, you're 2 months from now, after Christmas, you're having wine with a friend from college, talking about work. And somehow, the last 3 months in your life were the awesomest months you ever lived. It's work-related. What the hell did you do? What were those things that were so meaningful, so important for you, that you feel the need to brag about them right now? And really, so what? Why? Why is it so important for you? So what? I mean, they seem impossible feats also. How the hell did you do them in just 3 months? What was the first thing you did to begin this change? What were you doing, say, on Halloween about it? What did you do that day? So this is an actual exercise we did a few weeks ago to set the Q for IT OKRs. So imagine you have in a room outside the office an entire day, 10 people sharing their most intimate needs, dreams, desires, what really matters, what really hurts, what it really burns. This makes people get one another. It makes people know each other. It builds trust and connection. And you don't have to spend money on team buildings. Okay, now you have this text. 3 objectives, 9 key results. They become my personal manifesto. I would go to our New York office. Hey, Bogdan, how are things in IT? What's up? Why, thanks for asking. Let me share my sacred text. The IT OKRs. If it burns, it's in the OKRs. If it matters, it's in the OKRs. If it's important, it's in the OKRs. And I have so much confidence in the relevancy of this text because I know we build them together. I know they're inclusive. They have all the perspectives of the team that I cannot stop talking about them. And I talk and talk. I talk outside IT, I talk outside the company as well. And imagine you multiply this by 50. You have 50 teams that know what the others are thinking about, that know what matters for the others. You get a sense of serendipity, of cross-pollination of purpose, if you will. And you start to see happy coincidences around you. Suddenly, somebody does something magical that helps your day. And even if those goals are completely conflicting your own, that's still good, because now you know. And you can have a coffee, talk things over. Before, you would go your separate ways and be none the wiser. Now the problem is, sometimes nothing happens. You want something, you commit together to do that, nothing happens. Commit again, nothing happens. Commit again, nothing happens. And it becomes really depressing. People stop trusting these goals, and they stop trusting their ability to move things forward. I mean, it's not that bad. I have a favorite joke. This was the best quarter ever. We did all the objectives we set out to do a year ago. And in reality, it would have taken 5 years or never to do those things if we didn't explicitly identify them and put them out there as our objectives. So we have this delayed success. Now, how can you get some results now, in 3 months and not in 3 years? How can you do that? Well, I'll get the obvious out of the way. First, I'm sure you already have your ways of getting shit done. Maybe you put it on a sprint. Maybe you have a good old project management. We use the Kubernetes migration party to move really important things for all the teams. So you have your own institutions that actually work. Put those at the service of the OKRs. Make sure everything you do in your formalized work systems is related to some goal. Secondly, if you have some important objectives for the group, it's always useful for the individual teams to adopt the objectives. Let's say we want to improve the number of automated tests. If no IT teams has that objective, pretty sure nothing will happen in the company. And sometimes you have this type of change that you cannot really grasp. It's a bit uncertain. You know, everybody wants it. Everybody's committed to do it, but they just don't know where to start. There's no clear owner because in the end, everyone will benefit from it. It will change the life of everyone, so there's no clear owner. And in this case, what you need to do is to create this vehicle where you take all these commitment, these hopes, these needs, put them in the vehicle and empower people to change themselves. Make change an institution. So the second thing I will talk about today, besides OKR, is the task force. The Fellowship of a Ring is a pretty good example of a task force. You have representative of different teams working together to save Middle-earth from Sauron. The dwarf, Gimli, and the elf, Legolas, they're not the best of friends. There's this old feud going on, but they still find a way to unite for the shared goal of throwing the damn ring in the volcano. Now, task forces have pushed the most complex of topics at the Dormy. We have reinvented the product assortment, modernized our software systems, changed the way we communicate with the customer. It's a business as usual mechanism. We don't actually call it task force, we call it a NATO, because we have some inside jokes, but it's a task force. And just a sec. So I know you like canvases, like the business model canvas. Again, you have the same story. You have the pusher, the person that initiated the movement. Then you have who, why, when, what. How do you communicate? What are the risks? You need to lay out all these things. And the pivotal moment in any task force is the kickoff. Imagine you're pushing an important change. You know exactly what you have to do, who has to do it when. Put it on a slide, set down the calendar invites, get everybody in the room. You share your magnificent vision, everybody's on board, things take off. Well, yeah, right. You forget two important things. First of all, you're no genius. You don't know everything. You likely have a one-sided perspective on things. And secondly, everybody in the room will have a clear solution on the problem, and they will be all different from yours, and they will not be shy to share them. So you'll bring discord in a room where you're supposed to bring synergy. So you waste 2 hours of everybody's life on endless debate, and the worst thing, you may jeopardize the entire change you're trying to push. You could push it back for months or years. So your job at that moment is to come in there with a box, open the box, and give clarity to the room. The distilled ideas and perspectives of everyone involved. So they get it, they find their child there. And this box is your kickoff document. And preparation is key. So how do we get to this level of clarity? Well, at the Dormy, for any important decision, we're using an advice process. So you need to seek advice to your 4 special friends. Your first friend is your partner in crime, your sidekick. It's that person that has exactly the same commitment on the task at hand. Ideally, they will have a very different vision on it, so you don't get an echo chamber. And by co-creating this vision, you likely eliminate all the blind spots. And not only that, but that person will be there for you when things are rough. He'll be your Sam when you have to throw the ring in the volcano. Who's the most knowledgeable person around you about the topic? Get the expert advice. Get them involved. You might want to include it in any way you want. For example, an example is, okay, specialized research and analysis suggests our change will fail here dramatically, but we are willing to take the chance considering the alternative. But you have to incorporate the advice. Your unlikeliest friend, but probably the most powerful friend you got, it's the hater. Is that person that will always debate, will always challenge. He will be in that meeting room, in a corner like a porcupine, always complaining. And when you start the change, he will be that one person that will not participate, will not do shit. So getting that person on board early on, getting their honest advice, incorporating their vision, really, really opens your perspectives a lot. And by having this detractor on board early, you likely eliminate most future resistance. And last but not least, your change will be inflicted on some poor people in the trenches. These are the people, the victims of the broken system you're trying to fix. Give them empathy. Give them a seat at the table. Have their voice heard. This is a shout out to any design thinking fans in the room. If their voice is not in your vision, the change will not work in a sustainable way for the long term. And, okay, you have this spark of vision, put everything together in a distilled shape of clarity. You have an awesome kickoff, everybody's committed, success. Well, not necessarily, because life will happen. Sometimes life just happens, and some fires will steal the focus from your strongest champions. You will lose their allegiance. So what you need is rhythm. You need that heart beating. You need to keep the love alive. We meet like clockwork, every 2 weeks, every 4 weeks. And the idea of these follow-ups is to realign on perspectives, to realign on each person's angle. You'll have a sysadmin doing a deep dive on security concerns. You'll have a product person coming in with the voice of the customers in the room. What you want is everyone to educate the others on their unique angle. What you want to happen is people to get it, to really, really get it, to have this aha moment, like, now I get it. I would argue that the success of any good meeting is measured by the number of epiphanies in that meeting. Epiphanies are really important. People want to do good. They generally want to do good. They wake up, come to the office every morning. They know what hurts. They know where it hurts. They know what is important. They start doing their work based on what they know it matters. So once they get it, they understand why this matters, why this is important for them and the others, they will naturally do the right thing. What I find is that in the end, once you win their hearts, the rest simply follows. And I guess we're getting closer to lunch. Just want to leave you with one idea. So I guess you know what needs to change around you. And probably you have a pretty good idea how to do that change. And by now, after the last 20 minutes, I hope you know you are the one to do it. So my question is, what will you do today to start pushing that change around you? Thank you.
Thank you, Bogdan. We'll have 2 questions for you on the slides back. So the first one, what were the OKRs that failed miserably for Adore Me?
All right. So I will avoid the OKRs that were accomplished 2 years later, like moving to Kubernetes, to the cloud, etc. Those were... I don't think we have a miserable failure. I think that each session, retrospecting on what the hell went wrong, we actually managed to change a lot of things in the way we operate these OKRs to re-inject stuff in the next season. So, 1 second. So, some example of iteration in the process. After 1 quarter, we started to have owner on each objective and key result. After another quarter, we started to have regular syncs to measure them and to keep it alive. After that, we started to use little groups of interested people that own and champion a specific objective. So we improve the process every iteration, but the content, we didn't really change it based on the previous lessons. We did that exercise of really understanding what is important right now for the group. And some things, maybe it was a blessing that they failed because we discovered we didn't need them.
Thank you. So if we assume 3 types of changing, power-driven, value-driven, information-driven, what worked for you as a change leader?
Power-driven, I haven't tried it. I couldn't tell. I think information-driven is something that is business as usual. We are very, very data-driven, very fact-driven. So the idea of full transparency, over-communicating, sharing things around, just keeping everybody knowledgeable about everything, that's something that helped a lot. But people have a natural need to contribute, to do good things. So when people put their ideas in the objectives, in the change they want to do, often they try to solve pain around them. So a value of contributing to the well-being of the people around you is pretty present.
Okay.